On to Tuesday's Metro, and who better to talk about one of the finest footballers of our generation but Nick Dixon?
Yes, England legend Ellen White pens emotional farewell as she retires from football. I think the producers have given me this sort of trolling me because I famously don't watch women's football and never will.
Well, I didn't know who Ellen White was.
Neither did I.
But she's a legend.
She's a legend of the women's game.
Okay.
And I have to be so careful because I got hissed by the audience of Free Speech Nation, the show where you're supposed to be able to say what you want, for saying that I didn't like women's football and didn't watch it, hissed on Andrew Doyle's Free Speech Nation.
Good.
So you're not allowed to not like women's football.
People are free to hiss. That's part of free speech.
No, you're
as well.
sexist. It's disgusting.
Look, I'm not sexist, but I have realised, finally, how everyone else feels when I talk about normal football, because they just don't care at all, which is how I feel about women's football. I mean, let's be really honest. The US, I hate to be mean, but the United States team that had won the World Cup were beaten, the women's team, were beaten by a group of 15-year-old boys. So I'd like to hear their emotional farewell letter.
But, you know, people keep going on about this, that the women's team, you know, won't be as good as the men's team. But that's obviously the case. But isn't it... I mean, I'm not a fan of either the men's or the women's game. So, I mean, Kerry, isn't it just as much fun to watch a
amazingly so, and you could argue that in many ways there's more skill in the women's game, but the truth is I don't know what I'm talking about. I never watch football,
so
and I don't care one way.
Either.
I thought she wrote a beautiful farewell letter. I didn't read it, but it said it was somewhere or other, so I'm sure look, I don't think we can complain about women's football. For a long time, people in my profession in comedy have been hoping for a sport that wouldn't take people away from the comedy clubs. They're still coming out, even during the Women's Euros. So I think it's a great game for that. People, even during the final, people still came in straight afterwards and watched the comedy unaffected. Clever. So that was nice.
You ended up saying something more misogynist than me.
I know.
Clever way.
That's what I do. That's what I do. I set it up so I can get away with
Whatever you say about
stuff.
it, the women's game, I mean, the women's final... I mean, loads of people watch that. I mean, it's obviously becoming a much more mainstream sport, isn't it? Whether you like it or not.
No, honestly, I did watch the final. I was at a club. I watched it before. If I'm watching a game, I can enjoy it. And it was a great game. And they played really well. Big fan.
There we go. He's just redeemed himself.